Thank you and welcome to another section. Let's now talk a little bit about one of the other big topics that we are going to study: calculus. Calculus is concerned with two basic operations: differentiation and integration. It is a tool used by engineers to determine such quantities as the rates of change and areas. In fact, calculus is the mathematical backbone for dealing with problems where variables change with time or with some other reference variable. A basic understanding of calculus is essential for further study and the development of confidence in solving practical engineering problems. Differential calculus determines the rate of change of a quantity, while integral calculus finds the quantity where the rate of change is known. Calculus is the study of continuous change. For example, you would need to use calculus to estimate the rate of growth of a plant. A plant does not suddenly grow in big steps, or discrete steps if you're familiar with the terminology. You will never see it suddenly gain a full centimeter. It slowly grows over time. You would also need to use calculus to compute the acceleration of a car over time, for example. If you want to know how much the car is accelerating at the moment, you would need to find the derivative at that point. Derivatives are a bit counterintuitive. If you think about it, it measures the rate of change over time at an instant. Differentiation is all about finding rates of change of one quantity as compared to another. We need differentiation when the rate of change is not constant. A good way to visualize the derivative is to imagine drawing a tangential line over a function you're measuring. The slope of the tangent line is the derivative at that point. It's trying to show you the direction that the line is going at that exact point in time. First, let's take an example of a car with a constant velocity of 60 km per hour. The velocity over time graph would look like this. We notice that the velocity remains at a constant rate of 60 km per hour. So, after 5 hours, we have traveled 300 km. We notice that the slope, the gradient, or the derivative is always zero for the whole graph. There is a constant rate of change of the velocity compared to the time. As you can see, the slope is zero and does not change no matter where you measure it. What about when the rate of change is not constant? Well, let's imagine we throw a ball straight in the air. Because gravity acts on the ball, it slows down. Then it reverses direction and starts to fall. All the time during this motion, the velocity is changing. It goes from positive when the ball is going up, slows down to zero, then becomes negative as the ball is going down. Let's graph the height against time. But first, since we don't usually focus too much on the code in this course, let's take a moment to sift through the definitions for this function. First, we define our parabola, which is the mathematical function that we're trying to use to model the ball being thrown in the air. After that, we define the slope of the curve, or the derivative. Don't worry, we'll talk about how we actually find the derivative in a later lesson. Afterwards, we define the range of the function. Then, we create a function that chooses a point in the parabola to plot the tangent line, and we define the equation of the line and the range for it. Then, all that's left to do is to plot the line and the function using matplotlib. And we can also use IPyWidget to create an interactive widget to visualize the tangent line over many points. As you can see, here we print the slope of the line. It changes from 0 to positive or negative values as we move x. Alright, that's all for derivatives for now. Let's move on to another important concept for calculus, the integral. Most of the time, it is used to measure the area under curves. You must have already done some math problems that involved finding the area of squares of perfect circles or triangles, right? Sometimes finding the area under a function is as simple as finding the area of a triangle or a rectangle, such as the function from our first example, the car example. Say you want to measure the distance it traveled from hour 2 to hour 4. It is very simple. You would only need to find the area of the rectangle using the simple equation height times base. So from hour 2 to 4, we traveled 2 hours, times 60 kilometers per hour means that we traveled 120 kilometers in total during that time. We find the area under the function. But how would you go about measuring the curvy complex shape of the second example? Well, that's where integration comes in. We use the concepts from calculus to measure small steps to calculate the area precisely. Often, we know the relationship involving the rate of change of two variables. But we may need to know the direct relationship between the two variables. For example, we may know the velocity of an object at a particular time, but we may want to know the position of the object at that time. To find this direct relationship, we need to use the process which is opposite to the differentiation, which is called integration, or anti-differentiation. When the velocity of a moving object is positive, the object's position is always increasing. We have established that whenever the velocity is constant, or an interval, the exact same distance traveled is the area under the velocity curve. When the velocity is not a constant, we can estimate the total distance traveled by finding the areas of rectangles that approximate the area under the velocity curve. For example, we could create two rectangles to approximate the area under the velocity curve while the ball is accelerating. This would give us a rough estimation of the total distance traveled. But we don't account for those small parts above the rectangles. If we increase the number of rectangles, our precision would also increase. As you can see, there are now smaller parts above the rectangles that we don't account for. If we kept increasing the number of rectangles all the way to infinity, we would eventually reach the exact area under the curve. That's basically what we are doing when we find the integral. We use the concept of limits to approach infinity mathematically. We will talk about limits in the next lesson, as this is the end of this one.